I'm in the beautiful gardens of SHANKLIN CHINE, and I'm about to talk to the owner of Isle of Wight Guided Tours, Jane, who's been taking us around for the last 2 days, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Shanklin and how kind of this place eventuated.
Hello, welcome first of all. Yes, so Shanklin Chine was the very first tourist attraction of the island. It was actually discovered way back in the 17th century, in a time long before there were any ferries coming across, and some adventurers found it, and they immediately realised, well, first of all, the exotic nature of the vegetation that grew here, and discovered that this side of the island in particular does have a microclimate. So it's very, very warm, so it's a sort of tropical vegetation which really doesn't grow anywhere else in the country. So
unique.
Yes,
Yep.
So it was a real find. The waterfall over there, they also at the same time discovered what sort of fantastic mineral properties it had. So it was, you know, really good medicinally speaking. So this became, eventually, it started life Shanklin as a small fishing village, but it expanded over time. And then come the 19th century, when you get, Albert and Victoria in residence here, and the Isle of Wight is becoming a very popular then tourist destination. The advent of the railways made it possible for everybody to come over, and so Shanklin was the first place that people really started to come on the whole island.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Over time, this beautiful chine, by the way, the word chine is not a normal English word even. It's normally called a ravine or a gorge, but the word chine is one of our few Isle of Wight words. There are several. And over time, Charles Darwin has visited. Jane Austen was a great fan of the Isle of Wight in general. She loved the chine. Turner has been here, painted in here. He painted a lot of places in the island, but he was a great fan of Shanklin Chine. Keats lived in Shanklin for quite a while, as did Longfellow. So really, you could say at one stage, anybody who is anybody has been in and admired Shanklin Chine. It's like the time has stood still in here, very Edwardian, very atmospheric.
Okay, so I want to know a little bit more about Pluto, because when I see Pluto, I think of either the cartoon character, the dog, or I think of the planet.
Right, neither. So this actually stands for Pipeline Under the Ocean, and this was a project in the Second World War to go under the channel to take oil supplies across to the soldiers in France. So it was a huge project. It was all secret, obviously, as to where it actually was going to happen, for obvious reasons. They put the emphasis on the fact that the line was actually, it was known that it was going to be tried, but that it would be actually somewhere else, but this is actually where it was. And if you come and visit us here, we hope you will, there's a lovely exhibition about this just across the way from us here on the other side. They have a lovely exhibition about the Pluto.
Understand why Darwin wanted to come here. They're amazing, unique flora and fauna, absolutely fantastic. Jane, can you tell us a little bit about Fisherman's Cottage as well and the history behind Fisherman's Cottage?
Yes, well, it's really funny you should mention Darwin, because Darwin actually stayed in this house when he was on the in Shanklin, and in fact it's here where he is supposedly he wrote the prelude to his Origin of the Species. He was staying partly in Sandown and also in Shanklin, and this is where he stayed. It's right on the beach, as you will see. Fantastic beach that Shanklin has. It's no longer got its pier. That was actually destroyed, blown down in the so-called hurricane that we had in 1987.
We're going to walk down the bustling esplanade of Shanklin. So this is basically the hub, or where everything exciting happens through here. And you were telling me about a clock tower?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it just down there to our right, but on there is commemorated the 2 diamond jubilees of our longest reigning monarchs, namely Queen Victoria and Elizabeth II. And so both of them, one is a memorial to one on one side and to the other on the other side. And of course...
is one bigger than the other? There's a sibling rivalry there.
No, I think they're pretty much the same. And of course, Victoria, you know, was all over the island. Shanklin there was a very big hotel at Shanklin, which unfortunately got bombed in the Second World War, but where a lot of royalty used to stay when they visited the island. Of course, always a lot of foreign royalty, visiting royalty, stayed on the island because Victoria, they were all her relatives. Victoria and Albert, you know, their children married into all the different European royalties, and they were.
We did learn about that at the Osborne
We
house.
did.
Yeah, so
we
they
did.
stayed like a third of the year there.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And so, of course, their relatives, who these were, they would
to
come.
Norway.
Yes.
And Russia.
Yes.
And Germany,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
And we were talking about Darwin as well in the
Yes.
in the Shanklin Chine, where basically he came here to look at all the unique flora and fauna.
Yes.
And you were saying how he stayed at the fisherman's
Cottage, yes,
yeah.
which is just down behind us.
Yeah.
Yes, he did, and he wrote the prelude to The Origin of the Species while he was staying here. So he used to stay both at Shanklin and at neighbouring Sandown, which is just further along, which was because Shanklin started life, as I said before, just as a small fishing village, and because it became so popular, of course, it expanded, and then it needed to expand it further. So they built neighbouring Sandown as the first really purpose-built tourist resort on the island, shall we say, for people to actually stay. So he was sometimes staying there as well. So a lot of these celebrities, these Victorian celebrities, they didn't just come on one occasion, they kind of came repeatedly. So they didn't always necessarily stay in the same place.